All right, welcome everybody to Son of a Witch podcast. You know me, I am Mike D, and with me today I got my boy Smoothini in the house.
Was
What's up,
good.
Smooth?
Not much. Look, like Murphy's Law, bro. Murphy's Law. Moment you start this, I can hear the kids starting to get a little anxious upstairs. So to all the viewers and viewers, just be very well aware that I don't believe in condoms, apparently. And there are results to that. Result to those decisions. And one of those one of those results is that I got a pair of twins upstairs that are gonna get antsy right when daddy's about to do something that's not involving them.
Every
So
action has an equal and opposite reaction, bro. You know, no condoms, you got the kids.
question, can I cuss in this?
Bro, this is an explicit show. I love my sentence enhancers, so we can
You are a
fucking
sailor,
cuss.
so I believe the sailor traditions.
Oh yeah,
Doesn't have
that's
to be every word, but I just want to make sure that I'm free.
Oh yeah, I curse all the time, man. I call them my sentence enhancers, and my girl's kind of like your girl. She's super smart, very well educated. I don't know how the fuck I landed her, but uh, I've used the study that people that curse are more intelligent, and she tries to debunk that all the time. So,
I saw something similar going on the internet a while ago, and it's good to believe.
oh
It
yeah, it makes you feel better about what you're doing
is,
anyway.
but the thing
So.
is, on a quantifiable scale, I am pretty intelligent, but you meet a lot of people that cuss because they just don't have the extensive vocabulary or lexicon or vernacular period that I can actually use. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck that. I'm not gonna go ahead and try to explain shit to you. I just want to cut to the damn chase.
Well, see, I'm a lot like you. See, I've first of all, let me give a little background. I started following Smooth right before he went on AGT, and that's right. Y'all have heard me talking about it. You saw me even give a link to some of the videos. My boy was on AGT. In my opinion, he should have won that shit, but we ain't even gonna go over all that.
Can we do a recount?
Yeah, for real, yo. Like, but yeah, I did a link the other day to that time when you went down there, did the pin trick, did the salt trick, and all that shit, and everybody's minds are blown. So everybody on my end is really geeked out to be talking and seeing you. So thanks for coming on the show, bro. But yeah, Smooth is as you heard him mention, a Marine vet. You guys know that I'm a Navy vet, so that's my boy right there, and that's one of the reasons I started following him. And then, of course, I saw him on AGT, and I'm sitting here with my son next to me, and I'm tweeting him and shit like that, and he's tweeting back, and my son's like, "Holy shit, that dude on TV is like actually talking to you, Dad." And we just
Not
started
famous.
we just started kind of kicking it and chilling and talking about shit like that. I know a lot about him just because we've followed each other like 7, 8 years now. But I'm gonna give him a chance to kind of give his background, give you a little bit of how he got to where he is today. So you take it away, brother.
Oh, dude. Seriously?
Just put you on the spot like that.
Oh man, all right. I mean, there's like a concise version of the story, and then there's the let me sit the fuck down and smoke a cigarette and
Well,
explain
first
it.
of all, we know you're from. Well, I know you're from
I'm
Dominican
from New York
Republic,
City. I
but
was born Dominican Republic. I'm an
yeah.
import. I'm an import. It was only exporting Dominican baseball players for a long time, and then they decided, hey, let's throw a Jedi out to the United States, and it didn't work out. But yeah, man. So I grew up in Manhattan, even though I was born DR. But I came on my third birthday with my mom and to New York City, into Manhattan, out of all places. And there I grew up. A couple years later, I got the bug for show business. I saw Eddie Murphy Raw around 1988, and that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be him. Like
That's a
he,
classic.
he embodied, and it wasn't just that Raw because I knew him from Saturday Night Live too. Like I would see like my older cousins catching him, and then of course you talk about the late '80s, so you had like Beverly Hills Cops, and I mean that's Eddie Murphy. I mean Eddie Murphy was like just on fire, and so like my first bug was really like to be a comedian, and then around that same time I got the bug for Majick, and so I started learning that. But I mean, overall, the underlying commonality was that I wanted to entertain people, I didn't have a great singing voice, even though I was in the choir. I mean, I did every play I could possibly get my hands on. And I mean, I'm not saying like I'm freaking Forrest Whitaker and shit, but like, I mean, whatever I could do to get in front of people and entertain them, that's what I wanted to do. And so I started learning a couple tricks, you know, here, tricks in there. And around fifth grade, I had a teacher that was also an actor. And he was like in soap operas or whatever in Manhattan. And he was a teacher throughout his regular job. And I remember me being the smart aleck and saying, oh, I never need to learn math. I don't need to learn math. The irony of which is like I'm a math geek now, but I was over here complaining of why I didn't do the math homework. And I'm going, I don't need to learn math. It's like every job you're ever gonna have, you have to learn math. And I'm like, nope, I'm gonna be a comedian. And he's like, but yo, what about when your people pay you and all this stuff? I'm like, that's why I would have a manager. And so he's like, all right, you wanna be a comedian so badly? Next week. You know, Wednesdays, I went to Catholic school. Wednesdays were half days because the other half of the day they brought in the public school kids for like CC, a bunch of crap. Anyways, so they're like, on Wednesday, I'm gonna give you 10 minutes in front of the whole class. I'm like, okay, great. Oh man, I have a picture of that day too. I went in front of my fifth grade class and I failed. I bombed. I mean, these kids just not having it. Like I was not funny on demand. Oh man, it was just nuts.
Well, they're probably worse than the critics in your shows and shit, man. Because kids don't play.
They're brutal. They're brutal. They're brutal. And of course, because I was the nerdy kid and I was the kid that liked science and Star Trek. And I mean, it was just like, they didn't like me to begin with. So I wasn't winning anything over. But it taught me a real good lesson. Stick to magic.
Yeah.
Magic will always work. People can like your jokes or not like your jokes, but if that coin disappears, that's a fact. That coin is gone. And so like I kind of just very slowly really went into just keeping the magic because then I'm not gonna get criticized. I will get criticized, oh, it's in this hand or it's in that hand. Then I just have to get better on upping my level of deception. That led to, you know, the drug dealers on my block, they knew that I did a couple of tricks and I would entertain them. And, you know, this is the early 90s. And these were the drug dealers that I was being told by the government, man. You have and telling me that drug dealers are the worst human beings on the planet. But these are the guys that are buying me my magic set so I didn't sell drugs in the future. It was just absolutely the complete opposite messaging. These guys like, we have to do this, but you're smart, bro. Don't do this. And so one of the things that I had to do in order to like, I mean, I won't say the word qualified, but because of the fact that they were buying me these tricks and buying me these books, I had to make sure that every week I showed them what I was doing, which got me more attention as I got older. It got girls to pay attention, which is always awesome as a teenage boy.
Hell yeah.
And then I just, you know, by word of mouth, I started getting really good. And I was starting to perform for harder and harder and harder groups of people that they don't care. These weren't like, hey, Timmy, yay. They were like knocking my hand off, like, yo, I don't believe you, son. Like, I mean, these were like scary dudes. And I just started like, you know, building that, like, okay, you want to heckle me, I'm gonna heckle you right back. So I got a very abrasive and in your face and comedic type of performance personality. And as the years went on in the 90s, you know, people were calling me Smooth all the time because they thought that, oh, there was like a joke. It was like, hey, this kid thinks he's so smooth. And the name kind of stuck. And then about 99, when I was 19, some little kid was, and I'm talking about little kid, like a 6-year-old. So I was 19, this kid was like 6. He saw me do a new trick. It was like, Smooth, you're like Smoothini the Ghetto Houdini. And when he said that, I was like, yes, that's the name. That's the name. And of course, nobody in my realm, nobody in my orbit, and especially my parents being immigrants, I mean, they're like, you come to this country, you be a doctor or a lawyer, like you come here and you kick ass. And I'm like, I'm gonna be here and I'm gonna be a magician. And they're like, what do we do? And so, oh man, that was tough. And after 9/11, I was growing, like I said, I lived in Manhattan. After 9/11, I lost my job because I used to work at the towers. It's another story. Lost a bunch of friends, and there was no work for me. I was 21, living in my parents' small apartment. I joined the Marine Corps. And when I joined the Marine Corps and I was doing the same tricks that were bugging out the idiots in Harlem and the South Bronx, But now these are people from like Oregon and Kentucky and all over the country. They were bugging out just the same. I started realizing that I really have something. Like, it's not just something that it was, trust me, there was nobody telling me I can actually do this. I would ask professional magicians, and they're like, oh, you got to get in a suit and tie. You got to change your name. You got to be more like Lance Burton, tucked in with a tuxedo. And I'm like, yeah, nah, bro. Like, what if Method Man, what if Busta Rhymes did magic? Like, it was like my whole idea. Like, I just didn't feel like I had to change who I am to fit into the world of magic. So after the 4 years of Marine Corps, I got out with a hard-headedness. Like, I can be me and I can do magic. And I can be in the bars and I can smoke weed and I can cuss and people will like it. And sure enough, people did like it, but the people who can hire me and put me in a bigger platform were not willing to hire me. So I had to figure out on my own way, on my own side, how to hustle it myself. So people would come to my shows, but nobody was willing to admit it. The venues were not willing to admit it. And then, of course, I'm a veteran, so I opened up doors. And Marines and sailors and even soldiers and Air Force people, they didn't care. They didn't care that I was uncouth. They didn't care that I was drinking on stage and taking 4 shots. They didn't care that I was, being an asshole, pretty much, because we all knew that what I was doing was bullshit. But they enjoyed the fun. And one thing led to another that led me to Las Vegas, or the recession hit. So when the recession hit, I happened to be I happened to be a really qualified magician in terms of skill, but nobody was willing to really put their name behind me. But Vegas was hurting and I was cheap. And
There
so
you
I
go.
went. Next thing you know, I had sold out show after sold out show at the Harley Davidson Cafe. I had lasted for a couple of months. And then when I lost that stage gig, I was like, well, I'm not going to leave Vegas after I know what the stage feels like. So I started just being in bars like I used to be before anything happened. Fast forward, a lot of story there. But fast forward, I'm in the bars. I've never worked the street corner. I never hanged out like just with a pan. Never did that. So after, and I speak a couple of languages too. So I do this in French, Italian, Japanese, Spanish, and English. So I'm over here in the bars, and the bars are loving me because here I am. I'm keeping like a group of Irish guys is drinking and drinking and drinking. There's like bars right next to each other. They can just pick up and leave and take their drink with them in the street and go to a different bar. But here I am keeping groups of people at one bar. So these people in Vegas were not stupid. They were like, I like this guy. This is entertainment right here. I can keep people drinking. And that's how I met the producers of America's Got Talent. They went to a bar and they asked, like, what's good to see right now? And the bartender was like, that guy. And sure enough, fast forward another year, I had this entire other performance ready to go. I had this idea, like I was gonna go on stage and show off all my good stage skills. But the producer's like, nah, I want to see what you did at the bar. Do the salt trick, the thing in your nose, or the nothing in your nose, but whatever. The whole thing is, I ended up doing my bar act at America's Got Talent, and it blew up.
Yeah, man, that video, like I said, I posted a link to that, and everybody's minds are blown. I mean, I'm gonna have to send you some of the comments because I told these people I would forward it to you, but people are just impressed. And what's funny is much like my son and my little niece today, I showed her the video, and I'm like, look, this is my friend. I'm gonna be talking to him tonight. I need you to kind of be quiet, but I'm gonna show you what he does, right? And so she's watching it, and she's autistic, highly functioning, so she's very intelligent. And the first thing out of her mouth was, "Oh, well, I know." And I said, "Shut up! Don't finish that sentence." I said, "Because you don't know."
You do
I,
realize that everything I did in that audition is from a beginner's magic set.
well, the sponge balls, I've done that. I mean, that's what maybe I don't think I've ever told you that, but I mean, I've always been. Well, no, we talked about it the other day.
Yeah,
I've
we
always
did.
been into like amateur magic, and if I go by a magic shop, I'm stopping, I'm buying something. Scotch and soda was always my favorite trick,
Great trick.
and the sponge balls and everything else. But yeah, like she thought she knew how you did the pin trick, and I'm like, well, tell me, and she did, and I'm like, nope, that ain't how. And she's like, well, how do you do it? I said, I don't fucking know. I ain't gonna ask him. But like everybody else, like my son and like all my listeners and everything else, everybody's like that salt trick, yo. that salt trick, and he poured liquid in his hand, yo. And
Oh
I'm like,
man.
yeah, man. I mean, homeboy is like insanely talented, but yeah, I mean that's a cool rise to fame, brother. I mean, you took
I
what
mean,
you had and you made something out of it.
like even the story behind the salt trick is insane in my personal view because again, it's more the Magic World was pretty pissed. I mean, really pissed because I mean, I think one of the biggest criticism that I got was this guy who starts off the video with, I don't want to like knock this guy, right? And then he goes
But
on an hour to knock me down. And I don't even know why I was so fascinated to hear him. But at the end, he's like, it's like somebody going on American Idol and singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And in my head, I'm like, if it was so fucking basic, asshole, why didn't you go on the show in the last 8 years and do it your fucking self? The whole idea is this. I never liked that trick every time I saw a magician do it. It's been such a throwaway trick. And and just because of the way they magicians like try to cater to each other, you know, they try to like peacock each other, like, oh, look what I can do, look what I can do, which
oh
is
yeah,
understandable. It's understandable, right? I kind of just threw it away. And when I first saw an older magician do it, it was just so whack. I'm like, oh my God, I would never do that. Escape, I learned it. Duly noted. Then what happens is after I leave the Marine Corps, I had no backup plan. I didn't have any backup plan. I didn't even bother looking for a job. I said, if I am this good, I will do something with myself. So, as romantic as that sounds, it was been a lot of years of being broke. And I'm at a bar in North County, San Diego. And these ladies, the servers, the waitresses, they've seen my routine so many times, so many times. And it was one of those slow days where nothing's going on. I had nobody to do magic for. There was no tips. I'm getting free drinks just to pass me by. And the girl comes out and she's like, Smooth, yo, is there anything you could do with a salt shaker? Immediately, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I know 5 salt tricks that I can do. I'm being put on the spot, but there's like a shot of Jameson like on the line, right? And in my head, I'm like, well, I can do this stupid little trick where the salt goes in my hand and it disappears and comes right back, right? And mind you, it's been like 11 years since I learned that trick. Never done it because I had it in my head. I had it in the reservoir of tricks. So I'm like, okay, cool. I did it. Boom, gone. And then the drunk people next to me freak out. And then I poured it out and they run away. And I'm like, get the fuck out. Now, there's a difference between what a magician sees when they see a trick and what a regular person not in magic sees. And from that day on, I said, oh, I'm going to keep this trick. And over the next couple of months, it evolved from just pouring it once to doing it several times. And then by the time I got to Vegas, somebody dared me like, I bet you can't put my beer in there. So I'm like, I bet you I can, fool. And so over many years, other regular people created that trick out of me. So, I mean, that's just the story of the salt trick. And it's taking me around the world.
in my opinion, man, I think that because like I say, I grew up watching David Copperfield and reading about Houdini and all this type of stuff, and I've seen salt tricks before. But you kind of took that trick and you made it your own. But then when you add in, like you said, your comedic kind of in your face style with it, for instance, in that video, one person said, did he really just like, I mean, they were laughing because when somebody in the audience said, oh my God, and you're like, that's not my name. They're like, he said that shit like it was scripted, like he was just expecting that.
Yeah. That's out of the years of Vegas. That was filmed in April of 2014. I got to Vegas February 09. So, and you gotta think that the majority of 2012, I was homeless, like homeless. I would make enough money to just like be able to sleep in a movie theater so that I can have a place to knock out. You know what I mean? Like, and I didn't want to even call my parents for help because I was like, I will do this. I've had a lot of like rough times, and then I picked my mental state up, and I was able. But over all those years, I mean, I'm talking about having nothing to do on the strip in bars. People will have the constant reactions. So like that, oh my God thing, I learned over the years. I will always say that. I have a ready to go comment or reply for like literally every practical thing a human being is gonna say at any given moment for the same exact performance. So yeah, when that lady in the back said it, that was just like immediately. I was just like an autopilot, like, okay, boom, that's not my name, right? And then I had to like play it off. Anyways, when I watched the video, I realized there's no way the mic picked that up.
Well,
There's no way
it
the
not only
NBC
picked
had
that
to
up,
add it in there.
but then
They
it
added
picked
it
up
in
the
there.
girl in the audience going, Smoothini. And, you know, you're like, yep, that's the name. You know, I mean, that shit
Yeah,
picked up
but both those
everything.
things, those mics never picked it up. Those were added in post.
Oh,
But they
were they?
had because they had to do it because I was reacting to it. I heard it. I heard it. But there's no way that mic on my lapel heard it from all the way up. So yeah, there's like little
That was a
things like
big
that.
theater, bro. I mean, that was a major
It
accomplishment.
was.
And to this day, I still
My
go
wife was
back.
pregnant with the twins.
I remember that.
My wife was pregnant with the twins.
You talked about
Yeah,
that on
she
one of
said she
the
got
episodes.
dehydrated from crying.
Oh, wow. Well,
Yeah, she
see,
said she got dehydrated because yeah.
that's one of the best things about it, man, because one, if you've got something that you can do, and again, mine's way different. I mean, I've done, first of all, I think having a smart ass kind of good sense of humor and being real quick witted helps. You know, that helps in any type of show business. I used to do theater, I used to do acting, I do voice acting now. And, you know, that's what led me into this podcast thing. But, you know, if you can be quick on your feet and good at what you do, then shit's just going to happen, you know. But then when you have somebody supporting you behind you,
Hopefully.
like Laura, or I'm sorry, like I'll edit that out. Your girl does,
It's Laura.
then
It's Laura. No,
all
we all
right,
know it's Laura.
all right. But like your wife
I'm
does.
Urkel. I'm Urkel.
Well, see, and
Because I'm Urkel.
for y'all that don't know, me and Smooth were talking the other day, and I laugh all the time, and my fiance was laughing before I came on here because you know she's heard me talk about you over the years, and I've shown her your videos and things like that, and I think at first she didn't believe me. It was funny because the other night when we were on that phone call, she's like, "Who are you talking to?" And I'm like, "I'm talking to Smooth." And she's like, "Who the fuck is that?" And I'm like, "Smoothini, you know, Ghetto Houdini. I've shown you him before." And she's like, "Oh shit." And I said, "You really didn't think I knew the dude, did you? I mean, he's a cool dude." And I said, "He's a lot like you and me because you're smart as shit. My girl's got like several degrees and, you know, she's a teacher and she's beautiful, but I'm me. I'm a goofball. I'm self-taught on most everything I do. But she has supported me in everything, man. Like if I have to go down to the basement at 2 a.m. to record something, she's like, you do you because I know one day this is going to pay off." And it's kind of like what's happening with you. It's been kind of a roller coaster ride, but you've seen John Wick, right?
And it's funny, I watched it a couple months ago and it was like, I don't know, it didn't capture me. But yeah, I've seen John Wick,
Okay, so my
the
my
first
my
one.
common thing that I say is, you know, like the Russian guy said in that movie, you know, the bodies that I bury today are going to lay the foundation for what we have tomorrow, you know, and that's kind of the way I look at it. I mean, I'm working my ass off now. Like, I think I've slept maybe 8 hours in the past few days because I'm so into this. And I've seen you doing a lot of the same thing. You're in the bars, you know, you're live streaming from bars and you're entertaining people and you're getting
I
shit out
was,
there. So you're and
I was, but that was all to get the TV show, which was the ultimate goal.
oh, well, see, we're going to touch
And I
on that
even
too. See, in
so
magic,
like
like in witchcraft magic with a K, you do stage magic, I do literal magic, and it's all about manifesting destiny, man, manifesting reality. And that's what I was telling my girl earlier. I'm like, this motherfucker here has manifested his destiny more than a lot of the people I know out there. That's why I got a lot of respect for you because you've been knocked down, but in true veteran type style, because most vets are tough and they bounce right back, you know, that's what you've done. And you've kind of never given up. Like you've done AGT, you've done
I'm a
Hip Hop
persistent bastard.
Houdini, and you're still working on stuff that we can't even talk about yet. But you know, I'm impressed,
I
man.
mean, the point of the matter at the end of the day is like, why have a goal? Why have a dream if you're not going to accomplish it or fulfill it? And even if you don't actuate the whole dream, you work towards it. I learned this as a little kid because I mean, when I as a teenager, when I started realizing that we were poor, that was really something that, because of dichotomy in New York City, Manhattan, I could take a train ride a few stops south, and here I am around the most richest people on the planet and the way they live. And then I go back home and it's just so freaking different, so different. And I'm like, this sucks. Like, this really freaking sucks. And of course, everybody's like, well, you can get a job and you could do this. And I'm like, come on, man. It has to be a shortcut. It has to
Yeah.
be a shortcut. But that's if you think money was the goal, because honestly, it wasn't really necessarily the goal. The goal, I grew up around a lot of rappers and people in show business. And I'm like, well, if I can entertain the masses, then I will be fulfilled in my soul. I'll be rich in my soul, if that makes any sense.
Oh, it does. Makes perfect sense.
And so yeah, my entire thing is okay. So I have a pregnant girl with twins, and everything and everybody is telling me you should get a real job. To that point, you have not succeeded whatsoever. You have no claim to fame. You have no accolades, nothing. And I'm telling her I'm going to be on America's Got Talent, and she's like, what makes you think that they're going to even air your audition? And I told her in pure me fashion, like, wait till America sees me.
Yeah.
It's going to be a done deal. Um,
And
I'm
dude, you
stupid that
blew
way.
up during that show, man. You were getting like, what was it, 4 million YouTube
I got
views?
I got 4 million views in the first 2 hours of it being aired.
See, that's
I,
insane.
it was insane. It was insane. Now, like I knew it was going to happen, it was going to teeter off. And it did, and it did. It's fine. But I just needed that. I just needed that. That video, by the way, has gone viral 3 times a year, every year since, minimum. It gets reviraled in different countries. I get messages. Let me see. I get messages from like Africa and like people from like India, like yo, Smoothini. I mean, it's like nuts. I don't even know you can see the numbers. But it's nuts. Either way, I leveraged that into getting my TV show, which is what I really wanted to do. And it was all because the dream was there. It was like, okay, I'm gonna use this as a stepping stone. I didn't care if I won America's Got Talent. I won in a completely different way.
Well, it wasn't even so much about winning or losing. It was about the fact that you got on there and the world got to see your shit. You know, everybody got to see what you're capable of. Everybody got to see your personality because you, right now, was you on that stage. I mean, you weren't putting on some fake persona. You know, you were
It was
you.
stressful. I had to remember what I had to do and what I had to say.
Yeah, exactly. So, I
But
mean,
NBC, it was simple. I was like, don't curse, don't curse, don't curse.
don't get censored. But yeah, man, I mean, and to be in a room with not only that many people, but also Nick Cannon and Howie Mandel and Howard
Not a
Stern
problem.
and Mel B and all
Not
that
a
shit,
problem.
and you didn't even look like it phased you, yo.
Not
I
a
mean,
problem. I've done not a problem. I have since I got to Vegas specifically, I have entertained anybody in front of me as as if they were the Queen of England. Everybody in front of me. I don't care if you're rich, if you're broke. I don't care. I used to have a manager tell me, why are you wasting your time with this group of people? They're not going to tip you. I'm like, I don't care. Come on. They need entertainment like anybody else. Go figure. A lot of these people 8 years later, like, yo, I got a picture, whatever, whatever. You made my niece was having a bad day, or my cousin who was gay and this, and the third. I just treat everybody, because the truth of the matter is this: in the world of magic, a lot of magicians get an ego because they think that they have something over other people. They have this kind of knowledge and that I can deceive you. And they use that as a replacement for having confidence in themselves, which I think is nonsense. You should be a good person. I am humble and cocky. I am both things. I know that when it comes to performing, I kick ass. But I also know in almost every other aspect of my life, I suck. And so, hey, that means I know people. Hey, Princess, so come here. Let me say hi. This is my Princess Leia.
ah, there we go.
Yeah, we got a princess. I could have named the twins Luke and Leia. So,
I could see that, you know. Looks
um,
like a Princess Leia.
but yeah. So That's why I've always treated people like that. I just don't care if you flossing, like same thing with the drug dealers when I grew up. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you got a gun on you, bro. You will bug out. If I make something disappear, you will act like a kid again. I promise you. Um, and then, of course, I've met people that are difficult in their own right. But when you treat everybody the same, because we all poop and we all sneeze and we all pretty much the same in a lot of ways. I don't care if you're a Nick Cannon. I don't care if you're President Obama or Trump or whomever. Like, if you give me the chance, I will impress you. That's just the way I feel. And then I also means that I also have something to learn from anybody, regardless of their age or whatever. When I was in Japan, as I was learning Japanese, it was very humbling because I was so used to having my sway and doing my thing. Now here I am in a position where I could barely speak the language. So from their point of view to my point of view, I look like I'm the dumbass. And
And you speak what, 4 languages?
Cinco.
5. See, and yeah, that's insane. I speak a little bit of Japanese because I've got Asian family, and I speak a little bit of Spanish, but in Spanish, all I know is how to curse people out. And that's because going back to the bar thing, my grandparents growing up owned bars and restaurants. And at the
So
age
I
of
like it.
15, I was running the door, checking IDs, taking cover charges. And I had this huge bouncer right beside me, like watching everybody, keeping everybody away from me and stuff. And to grow up in that atmosphere, it gives you a perspective on life, man. I mean, you get to see so many different people, and people in a bar, once they get a few drinks in them,
Oh
they
yeah.
gonna show their real side, and
Or like, I would say an amplification, like it amplifies, you know. Some people though, I don't know, I wouldn't say so much. I don't want to just debate with you for the sake of debate. But there's some people that you put a little bit of the Jedi juice in them and they turn into the Hyde, Jekyll and Hyde. Like that is, I don't know if that's their real side. Like you're like an evil person, bro. Like, I don't know. I have a good friend who won't be listening to this, but but he's such a sweetheart in all of his life. 2 shots in, and this dude is beating up his girlfriend. I'm like, yo, how about you just stop that? You don't need to be drinking, bro.
see, I don't beat nobody, but I become like a major dickhead when I get tequila. That's why I got to stay away from that shit. I can't drink tequila, bro.
All right, when we meet, we're not drinking tequila, bro.
Nah, we ain't drinking tequila. We're gonna smoke some herb because it's legal in Vermont, and I can say that kind of shit. So
Oh,
I
it's
don't give a
legal here
fuck.
too, so don't worry about it.
Is it legal in Vegas now?
Oh, very, very, very legal.
Oh,
Very
hell
legal.
yeah, hell
Very
yeah.
legal.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, you keep talking about Jedi. So part of my show is my people know that I talk about witchcraft, and I talk about the paranormal, and I talk about ghosts, and I talk about spirituality. And, I even get real deep with that shit sometimes, like manifest reality, manifest destiny, and, being who you want to be, and affirmations. I do that shit every day in the mirror. I say certain affirmations because words have power,
Mm-hmm.
and I know you believe that too, but I also mix in a little bit of comic geekiness because I'm a huge comic book geek. I'm a huge Star Wars fanatic. As you can see, got the Stormtrooper stocking, so my boy's got the same thing going on. And you still got that Buddha picture in the background, which I've always loved. So, I mean, you're just a down to
We
earth
got the
guy.
we got the
Ah,
mix
see,
here. You know what
see.
I'm saying? We doing some things. But man, I'm a complete damn nerd, and I that's one of the things where I just like. I remember getting all this pressure to be cool and be something that I wasn't during high school, and I was like, nah, you guys are dumb. And in the Marine Corps, which is like super macho and like, a bunch of jarheads, I'm like, dude, y'all a bunch of idiots too, man. Like, I've never really felt too much sway with peer pressure, which has led me to be like this lone wolf. I'm a weird, like I'm a unicorn. I'm a little bit too regular for the super nerds because I can really hang out with any group. I've been hanging out with like superstars, straight up superstars, and I'm like I'm in their mix, and they're like completely fine. But then I can hang out with a bunch of freaking hardcore engineers and I'll be completely fine with them. But I can never really be part of any single one group because of that with that reason. I just like to get what I can from everybody and get that in my head.
See, I'm similar in that respect to the fact that it's called being a social chameleon, man. That's what my girl tells me anyway. I adapt to. It's not that I'm not me, but I can adapt to any situation. Like I can walk into a room, and I'm more nervous in a room with just 4 or 5 people than I am if there's hundreds of people in the audience. You know, that makes me more comfortable than a small group. And you've gone from like doing bar magic to a huge theater on AGT to having Hip Hop Houdini, which we got to talk about that because I posted some pictures because people were like, "Oh yeah, he was doing magic for some rappers and stuff, huh? What kind of rappers?" And I'm like, "Yo, Lil Jon. How about Fat Joe?" You know, I was like, "You didn't see it, but you know, he's hung out with Wiz and done shit for him." So I mean, this dude is cool with whoever he's around, and that's why you're successful, man. I mean, you continue to kind of make what you want out of what you get, and that's why you walk into a building and see you with a bunch of cards flying through the air on a fucking elevator door. That shit was
Oh
sick.
yeah, yeah. That I was on a. I didn't put the pictures up though, but I was on a bus too. I've had billboards. It's kind of cool. It does stroke the ego. Um, but you know, at the end of the day, because I can get emotional thinking about it, because I keep thinking about the little boy that told that it was a dumb idea to go into magic. And I hate hearing the word successful because, you know, well, I'll talk about that in my own podcast. It's how you define success. And I haven't done exactly what I want to do yet. And because I haven't done exactly what I want to do yet, everything that I've done so far is just one little notch, one little ladder closer to what ultimately be like my album. You know, yeah, I can't walk you, right? It's like what's going on there. But you're right. I have when I sit down and I really take a account of like all the things that I've done. It sounds pretty cool.
I mean,
Considering that when I came to Vegas in '09, all I can say was I have a MySpace account.
well, yeah, I was just laughing about I didn't even know until a few days ago that MySpace still fucking existed, which just still kind of blows my mind. But
Nobody does
yeah,
it.
I mean, you've gone from being a Marine, being told you can't do it, moving to Vegas to start out like some actors would move to LA or New
Mhm.
York, making your way, like you said, being homeless and sleeping in theaters. And then all of a sudden you're on AGT, you got your own show. And like you said, it's not the point that you haven't hit that point or that pinnacle that you want to get to yet. So you're not done yet. You know, all that shit's just been building blocks getting you to where you want to be. And I totally feel that because, you know, you said that money was never the goal for it. And much like this show, and I have to check myself sometimes. Like I told you, I ask myself what Dwayne Johnson would do because he's like the biggest star in the world sometimes, and motherfucker's humble as shit, you know. And I have to check myself because I started this podcast as a passion project, as I'm a voice actor. You know, I've done Kermit the Frog and Mickey Mouse in front of Stan Lee, yo, and made Stan Lee go, oh, wow. You know, this was 3 years before he died. That was my bucket list thing. I went and saw him at a convention, got him to sign a book for me, got pictures taken with him. And when I look at Stan Lee at where he was, and most everybody knows who that is, and when I met him, now granted, I had to pay to get the opportunity to be in front of him, but I was more than willing to do that. When I met him, he talked to you like you were just somebody that he's known forever. You know, I mean, he was humble. He wasn't like Stan Lee, look at all this shit I've made. He was like, Stan Lee, I
You know,
appreciate that you appreciate what I've made.
I hear that about a lot of people, a lot of celebrities, and I've rarely met the pure arrogant prick. I rarely have, um, which is interesting. I mean, I've seen celebrities with their personas on, right? And I don't know whether it's a thing about who I am in terms of like my skill set, and my skill set can disarm people, or the fact that I always give people the benefit of the doubt that, you know, I get it, you're a celebrity and you have to put up a front. There are moments where if you catch me too caffeinated, and I have very bad memory and very bad eyesight. So sometimes I'll be in a room of people and don't know who knows me and doesn't know me, who knows my background, doesn't know my background, who knows me only from one project I did or like from all. So I just try to be whoever I mean, just be a surface Smoothini. And my wife hates it because she knows it's very shallow. It's very shallow. And I says, I'm all about telling the jokes like I'm on stage or whatever. But it's just an aspect of me. It's not me being fake. Like, for example, one of the reasons me and my wife are together is because of Dennis Rodman.
What?
Literally,
I've never even heard this story. All right, come on. We
I'm
got
not
to.
gonna go completely into that story because it's pretty long. But just put it this way: Dennis Rodman and I have had a lot of adventures, and one of the many adventures was he loves cigars. And my wife, right before when we first met, she was working already at that time 10 years at the Caesar's Palace in a very high end cigar shop. So he will be there in the mornings, and then at nighttime, me and him and a bunch of people will be hanging out. And then at the end of the night, I would go to his suite, and me and his people would be, be smoking, and I would do a couple of tricks. So he found out that she had already met me earlier that week or something like that. We had just met. She was on a date. That's another story, like I said. And so he starts off like, I guess apparently he was like trying to invite her and some of the co-workers to go hang out that night at Planet Hollywood. And somehow he brought up that he knows a magician. And she's like, well, I just met a magician that's cute. And he found out that it was me. And so anyways, later on that night in the room, he's like, I'm gonna do a magic trick for you, black boy. He always calls me black boy, right? And I was like, I'm not black, I'm Dominican. This is a freaking thing that he does. So he's like, I know I can tell you the name of a girl you like. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good. Dennis Rodman's gonna do a trick to me. And he looks and he says, Laura. And I'm like, how in the fuck? Now, mind you, I'm not a sports fan. I'm not a sports fan.
I'm not
But,
either.
but my wife is a huge Chicago Bulls fan. She's from Chicago. So she calls me the next day, geeking out that I know Dennis Rodman. He made it seem like me and him are like this when we're not. He just, whenever he's in Vegas, he will bump into each other, and that's about it. That's like the extent of our relationship. I hang out, do some tricks. So yeah, he made me seem really cool in her mind. This is 2.5 years before America's Got Talent. So here I am with like no credits, but in her mind, I'm like the magician to the stars. So that's how
Well,
Dennis Rodman hooked me up
and
with my
you
wife.
kind of are, bro. I mean, you downplay it a little bit, and I get that. But I mean, I'm going back to what you said earlier. I'm similar like that. My girl she she's my worst critic and biggest supporter. She will hear me doing a show or hear me doing voiceover work, and she's like, when you do that, you're on. You're just like Mike, the voice actor, or Mike this. She's like, but even though you're not different when you're not in front of the mic or in front of a camera, you are different. You're a little more down to earth. And I'm like, well, I have to, kind of like you said, put on that persona. I mean, I have to kind of build myself up. Now on the show, though, I get to be myself a little bit more. But like I said, I told you, I like to shock people. I like to be talking about spell work or magic or spirituality, and then all of a sudden Kermit the Frog comes on and starts talking shit. I got in trouble with Disney one time because I was doing Mickey's voice talking to Minnie in the bedroom, and they did not.
As a
They got
no-no.
wind of that shit, and they did not like that at all. I got a very stern talking to, and I haven't done it anymore since then. If that tells you anything, but yeah, I mean, when you're good at something, there's a difference in being full of shit and full of yourself, and there's a difference in being an humble kind of cocky, like you said. I mean, I know that I can do certain things well, and then I know there's other things that, I'm horrible at. But the things that I know I can do well, hell, I'm going to knock that shit out of the park. And I'm not going to pretend like I don't know that I can do it.
I
And
think it's a little bit of empathy that goes along with it too, because sometimes, I realize that I've taken risks that no sane person who have ever taken would take. And because of some of the rewards of those risks, I do live my dream. And I have met individuals who, I might be far enough to say that they haven't or they feel like they don't, even though they might be materially successful. They got the car, the house, they got the yacht or whatever. But you can see there's some kind of emptiness behind their eyes. And I just don't like to be like the guy who's gonna rub it in your head. Look, you did everything fucking right and you're miserable. Like it's like a blessing that I know that I have.
Yeah.
That I am doing what I really do enjoy to do, and I have a beautiful family. But then I'm saying that everybody's miserable. That I just don't know who I meet. So it doesn't feel right to be over the top, like, haha, bitches, you know, I freaking did it. For that reason, it's like a bit of empathy because maybe my story can inspire somebody younger to follow their dreams, but then also, you know, to get the support of people who weren't able to do it. I still want them to be like rooting for me. You know what I mean? It's just a weird
My
situation.
my son, and he's not going to be watching this either. It's funny, like my son loves it when I do voices and shit, but he's like, "Dad, I'm not going to listen to you. You're my dad. I don't give a fuck what you do." You know, and he just graduated high school last year. God damn, I feel old. But but yeah, he when he started watching you and keeping up with you, he actually told me one day, he's like, "Dad, look, you know, this guy came from another country when he was young. You know, he's a person of color. He had all this stuff working against him, but yet he always seems upbeat. He's always positive. You know, he's always got a good message to put out there. Yeah, he's funny and he talks shit and stuff like that, but he's always his thing is he doesn't ever see you in anything that you've ever done seem like you're arrogant or seem like you're down. You know, I've even had live streams that I've been watching and he's been in the room and he's like, "Man, this guy's always in a good mood." And I'm like, "But you gotta be, man. I mean, you can't focus on
It's
the
a,
negative."
or you know, my wife is a mental health counselor.
I know,
So
yeah.
so it's one of those things where me and her have little discussions. I know that some people, especially vets, whether I don't know whether it's chemical. I mean, because of my lack of knowledge, I don't know if depression can be just chemical. Is it just mental? Is it a mixture of both? But you know, I've been through depression, panic attacks, and all that good stuff. And I've never been suicidal. You know, knock on wood. I've been very close to the point of, you know, that same year that I was talking about, 2012, when I was sleeping in the theaters, of where I wasn't suicidal. I didn't want to quit because I'm like, I will make it. I remember thinking through the worst days. I'm like, oh, this is gonna make a great chapter in my book. That's how I went through that. I saw exactly how I went through that. I said, you know what? Come on, bring it, bring it, bring it, because nobody's gonna want to watch a movie of me just always winning. And I would just tell myself that constantly through the worst times. And even, you know, I feel like with me specifically, I can't speak for other people, that being positive is a choice. And I might be wrong. And I get it. Like I'm down if somebody tells me no, you know, being depressed could be chemical, it could be hereditary, it could be a lot of other things. But all I can speak about is for me. And if every day I can think in myself, like, okay, listen, if I want to do all these things, I can't be miserable. I can't be moping around. Nobody wants to be listening to my damn sob story. I can sit here and vent all the time. I have to stop myself from venting because I can vent my ass off. But nobody wants that, man. I mean, especially from a guy as an entertainer. Look at Robin Williams, who I idolized.
I do too. Yeah.
Idolized. I was on I was on AGT when he killed himself. And I literally was gonna stop my show and go nano nano, and the producer told me not to do it, right? But just
I
to think of
cried
some,
when that shit happened, yo. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I cried like a baby.
but I was like, how can somebody who, yeah, look at me.
I see.
How can somebody who has brought so much joy to me to so many people have been? I mean, I could understand why they could hide it. I'm like, no, but that wasn't the point, bro. So I try to be very not falsely optimistic. It's not a falsity. I really believe that, you know, no, I'm doing something. Here, be quiet. Go away. Freaking children. But it's like at the end of the day, like that really is a good point. Like how is it that I can't be upbeat for fake? If I'm gonna be moping around and be like the Tupac of Magic and be just bitter and fight against people, if I want to be angry, I will be angry. I can throw it out there, you know. I don't want to freaking fake it for my people. Now look, listen, I don't believe I have fans. I know I have supporters. I know in certain areas of the globe, there are people that really look at me as fans. And I think it's completely and utterly strange And so that's why I write back whenever I can. That's why I talk to people whenever I can, because I don't think I am that special. I have so many personal demons that just need to be put in the underneath in Hades, you know, right down there in the river Styx. They need to stay down there. And they bubble up every once in a while. And I have all these beautiful messages like, you're great, you're awesome. And people will compliment me for hours. My wife went to an event with me not that long ago. And she's like, oh, I see why you love. She hasn't been in one for years. She's like, I can see why you love it. They spent 40 minutes kissing your ass. I'm like, yeah, baby, it's fucking great. And then all I gotta do is walk into the house and being told I'm a piece of shit and that the trash is not out, just to put me right back to the middle.
And see, that's the thread that keeps you grounded right there. You know, it's really funny because like and I don't mean this in a negative way, but just facts. I'm like very far below on the rung of stuff like that than you are. But you know, you've been doing it a little bit longer. But when I started this show, I literally didn't think anybody outside of Vermont was going to listen. I thought maybe South Carolina, maybe Georgia, because I got family there. You know, I might get some people listening there. And then I'm like, you know, I'm doing a show about witchcraft. I've been in and out of that for almost 30 years now. My grandmother taught me, and I grew up Southern Baptist. So I'm Southern Baptist, and then I would go that weekend and do a seance with my grandmother when I was 13 years old. And so I was like, I'm going to be talking about this shit. Nobody's going to give two fucks about what I'm talking about. But I added a little bit of comedy into it. I added a little bit of me into it. And I'm real big on networking and marketing, which I know you are too. And, you know, I just started talking to people and people started responding back. And like you said, I would engage these people. And I think I told you the other night, the real point when I was like, holy shit, this might actually turn into something that I can make a living out of and support my family one day doing what I love is when I had a girl one time, she was from Canada and she's like, look, your voice is silky smooth. And it made me think of you because she said smooth, you know? And she's like, your voice is silky smooth. She was like, I love your voice. Can you record something for me that I can listen to at night and fall asleep to? And I'm like, nah, A, that's weird as
Bang,
fuck. And
I like
B,
it.
that's like some stalker shit. And C,
Like it.
damn, that feels pretty good there. This girl wants to fall asleep listening to me. But then the next day I look up and I'm like, holy shit, you know, I've gone from being in like 8 states to being in 47 states. And then that was like mind blowing. And I'm trying to be humble, even though that's minor. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, then like now I'm in 24 countries, countries that I don't even know how to fucking pronounce. And like you
Yeah.
said, you know, people will message you and be like, oh, you know, I love what you do. Oh, you bring me inspiration. Oh, you know, you make me laugh, you do all this. I've got people asking me to like be a mentor and things of that
Have you
nature.
gotten the hate ones though?
You know, it's funny. I have gotten the hate ones, and most of mine, because of what I talk about, come from really devout Christian
It
folks.
doesn't matter who it comes from, but I'm saying I get like paragraphs. These guys, when they don't like you, they are very long winded. When people like me, they're like, you're awesome. I'm like, really, just 2 words? Come on, man.
But see, you being on YouTube a lot too, I've found because I do some stuff on YouTube also. People on YouTube have no fucks to give. They will
Oh,
just
no,
tear
bro.
you down just for the
Oh,
sake of tearing you down. And I remember
yeah, it's
sometimes
their job.
you've posted shit like that before, and I'm sitting there and immediately I'll go like, nah, fuck that shit. And I'll go in there in the comments like, nah, motherfucker, who the fuck do you you know, shit like
Oh
that.
man.
But
I look. Let's go through the last couple of subjects so that I can start getting dinner ready.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Come on,
See,
let's go
I'm
do
getting
it. Come on, we need
all
a
right.
a little focus
So
here.
yeah, I get sidetracked. So first of all, why don't you tell me about Hip Hop Houdini? Well, first of all, let me ask you, and I don't know if you'll be willing to say this, but you said that you've rarely met any celebrities that were true dickheads. Who's a celebrity that you really just didn't vibe with? Like,
It doesn't even matter. No, no, for real. Like for one, I mean that kind of negativity it doesn't belong in the world. You know, this could be. I don't know who I am sometimes because it's like there's nothing's bad ever been done to me as a person. It's like well, you don't have to be a prick, but you never know what kind of day that person's having or not having. You know, I mean,
true.
you know, I mean, quite frankly, it's not like, you know, it just doesn't really matter. But it's been very rare. But like I said, it's because of of what I do. A lot of times when I meet somebody in the beginning, of course, if they don't know me, they have a like their persona. Then you do something really freaking cool, and that shit just goes away. Like, oh man, like really, like
See,
oh
I'll say right now, the fact that you just said, "Let's go ahead and get to the topic so I can get dinner going." That's fucking impressive because of who you are, and you're still the family man. You're all about your kids. You laugh about your kids all the time. Like I saw the post you did on Facebook earlier about, "Oh, time goes by so fast." Now, fuck that. These damn kids are driving me crazy, and I resonate with that shit because I'm a dad too. But kind of segueing from that, what was your favorite rapper, musician, whatever from Hip Hop Houdini that you got to go in front of?
that's a lot. I think everybody was different. What was beautiful about that experience was that I didn't even get it, but now I do get it. When you're in front of a celebrity and you have an entire film crew that is on my ass, me, I
Yeah,
look amazing. But you know what I mean? Like for real, like I'm at their level. You know what I mean? Like so what happened was like each of the celebrities was always very personal with me. And they got to give me words of advice, you know. And I didn't want to, and everybody was different. There was something different that I took from everybody. Like with Iggy Azalea, the entire episode, she looks like a complete bitch in the episode, but she honestly wasn't on set. The reason why was like in the beginning of the she woke up on a bad day. She was in a bad day. And then and we were moving locations and she was being so abrasive and so like okay, that's impressive, but yeah, you know, whatever, like I can't smile, I'm too gangster for it, right? And okay, cool, and I loved it, right? Because of my sister growing up, she's from the hood, you can't impress her. It's, a smirk is like an applause, you know. And so like in between the shots, I told the producers, you know, I'm gonna do my regular material. Mind you, every episode I was doing new tricks. I do my regular material. Iggy, like this instantaneously, she was all talking to me, let me ride in her car. Like it was really cool. But then I told her, be that way for the rest of the episode because I want the world to see how I deal with somebody who's difficult, you know? So anyway, Ziggy was one thing. I was thinking Fat Joe because one, I was the one celebrity that I grew up actually listening to. I grew up listening to Fat Joe.
I
He
love
grew up in
Fat
the
Joe.
PX,
Yeah,
and we filmed on the block that I grew up on, and it was just kind of like really deep. A lot of the things that he's told me in my ear, the words of advice, like made me feel like I was like, oh, I'm gonna take over the magic world. And then, you know, it's been 3 years since we filmed it. And a couple of weeks ago, I'm on Instagram. And next thing you know, I get this invitation to go on his Instagram live. And I'm in front of all his fans. And I'm like, he's making fun of my beard. And
that's
and I'm
what's
like, you
up.
know, it's kind of crazy. Like it's really beautiful. And of course, little John was show me what show business is about in terms of his work ethic and how everyone was different. Everyone was completely and utterly different. Waka Flocka was hilarious. He told me to turn off his microphone and told me to be careful. The man is going to take advantage of you.
And he wasn't lying.
I was like, I don't care, man. I just need a TV show.
But you know what was cool about that show, I thought, and in case anybody hasn't seen it, I think it's on Amazon Prime right now.
Yeah, the whole season one is
You
on
can
there.
stream the whole season, so you need to go watch that shit. It's hilarious, it's amazing, and it's fun because you get to see a side of you dealing with celebrities, but you also get to see these celebrities, and like with Fat Joe, man, I've grown up again, like you said, listening to him, but dude's hella intelligent,
Oh yeah,
and
they're all smart, and you know they put on that persona. But with the Fat Joe is crazy because in the the moment that you see me meet him in the show is when I first met him in real life. So he starts off gangster, like I've had a lot of magicians wow me. You're gonna have to dig deep, right? That's the beginning of the episode. By the end of the day, he's applauding like a little kid. He's
yeah.
laughing.
Well, see, the funniest thing I found about that episode was who was it that's like his main boy, like his right hand man, his cousin or something like that?
His uncle, Uncle
His
Dan.
uncle, that's right. His uncle was fucking hilarious,
Oh,
yo.
he's
Like
hilarious. Yeah.
that cracked me up more than anything. But so how did that come about? Like Was that just something that kind of fell into your lap, or was that something
Hop
that you?
Houdini?
Yeah.
Oh man, okay. Let's see if we can do this fast. So rewind. I got out of the Marine Corps December 2005. By November of '06, I had my first professional show, and it was very successful in San Diego. And because of that, I got written up in the San Diego Union Tribune, and I started getting a lot of press, which made my MySpace blow up. My MySpace was like really blowing up. I had videos of me as a Marine performing for Marines. That video was going out on YouTube and whatever. And so it caught the eye of a producer in Hollywood. And then I got my boy who was, I known him since third grade, made a documentary, a complete documentary about me, which I can send you the link pretty soon. And that documentary got aired or whatever. So about middle 2007, I had all this press, and then I had this documentary out, and then a bunch of Marines called this TV show called Latin Nation, where they featured different Latinos in different areas of life. And they did a little 5-minute feature about me that went nationwide. Now, people who watched the show was just pretty Latinos that spoke English, that weren't like speaking Spanish.
Yeah.
So all around the same time of like late spring of '07, I had all this little minor press going on, and I was putting up on MySpace. A Hollywood producer was like, "Oh man, we gotta get you on a real TV show." So he brought me up to LA, and I'm like thinking, this is 2007, about a year and a half after I got out of the Marine Corps. And he's like, "Are you ready to do your own TV show?" I'm like, "Yes, yes, yes." Yes, we pitched MTV 3 times, BET 4 times, ABC, NBC, Fox. We did VH1. We did the History Channel, the Travel Channel. I mean, over the course of years. And it got close and then no, close and then no. And then finally, MTV called me back one time and they're like, "You're amazing, but you're not famous." And I'm thinking in my head, like, bro, if you give me the fucking show, I will be famous, right? So all this happened from 2007 to 2009. Mind you, you're not don't saying no. I have it in my head. I will get a TV show. I am the logical next choice, right? In terms of my personality, the demographics I can hit, and everything. And I just was too green. I had no credit. So by '09, when I said, okay, I will move to Las Vegas. Then maybe as a Las Vegas magician, not at San Diego, I can get some credits. Well, sure enough, Telemundo hits me up, a couple of networks, but then they lost interest. It lost interest in me so badly about 2011. They're like, "You've been pitching for years," and everybody said no. So that's where my depression came in 2012. It all fits in, right? And I dug deep on the whole being the bar stuff. Anyways, like the universe has it, I blow up on America's Got Talent, and literally every freaking TV channel that I pitched to over all these years remember me immediately. And so the freaking phone calls started coming in. The producer, he never quit on me. He called me back in. He got Wiz Khalifa involved. Wiz got me involved. He started going again, knocking on all these networks' doors. And they took from 2014 to about late 2016. And then finally, Fuse said yes. A
That's
couple of
what's up.
networks said yes, but the production company was like, you know,
How long did it take you to record the season?
from went to LA October of 17. And then I think we filmed actual filming was November to January. But I did a month of pre-production, and then
I
they
got you.
edited it for God knows like 5 months.
All right, so I got a few more things, and then I'll let you get back to your fam. So, one, what's your favorite trick to perform?
Hugging people.
All right.
I mean, like seriously, I don't have a favorite trick. It just depends on the person, you know. So for like a little kid, it'll be my favorite trick for a little kid. This is my favorite trick for a skeptic. This is my favorite trick for somebody religious. This is my favorite trick for somebody analytical. You know, it just really depends for a person. But honestly, my favorite trick is making somebody feel comfortable,
I got you.
and that's nothing other than knowing people and then try to connect with them as fast as humanly possible.
All right.
But
All right.
but overall, I would think the watch steal when I take people's watches and I show it back to them.
Yeah, see, that's always amazed me, no matter who I see do it. And once at Disney in downtown Disney in Orlando, Florida, I had one of the magicians that kind of roamed around. He came up and I had a watch on. He's like, that's a nice watch. And I'm like, oh shit, he's about to
Here we
do a
go.
watch trick, and I'm gonna get to see, and he ain't gonna be able to trick me, but I'll be goddamn if he didn't fucking take my watch. And I still don't know how that works. But see, that's what I told my little girl. I'm like, I'm a lover of magic tricks and I don't want to know how the shit works. That takes it away from it, and like that masked magician bullshit, that shit pissed me off,
It didn't.
don't be telling
It
people how the shit
didn't
works.
piss me off, bro. That's because honestly, one, he never snitched anything that I can do. I mean, like he taught you how to make an elephant disappear. How many people are running around to magic shows and be like, I knew how you made an
wait,
elephant
wait, you
disappear?
don't have an elephant hanging out of your house?
Sadly, bro, no. No
All right.
pachyderms.
Well, let me ask you this, because I know we're both into sci-fi and comics and stuff. What's your favorite Star Wars movie?
Good question. I would say Return of the Jedi.
There you go. All right.
Not a lot of people. I mean, Empire Strikes Back. Duh. It has the most quotes, has the most. But the reason why I like Return of the Jedi is because it's the first time that Luke isn't a little bitch.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a whiny little bitch for half that shit. And I'm like, oh, come on, son, really? But when that first time you see him and he's just like walking into Jabba's lair, I'm like, that's what I want to see, bro. That's
Well,
what I want
see,
to
I met Hamill one time, and he's one of my idols, not because of just Star Wars, but because he does the voice of the
see.
Joker in the animated
To the
Batman.
Joker, yeah.
And as a voice actor, I'm just like, motherfucker, that is the pinnacle, dude. He's
How you
he's
like
like,
that? How you like that Uber Eats commercial with him and
oh my
Patrick
god,
Stewart?
that shit's
Tomatoes.
fucking
I am not my
hilarious.
daddy.
That shit's hilarious. I love him because he could make fun of himself, but at the same time, he's just amazing. So, all right, so we got that. I know now. Did I correct me if I'm wrong? Did I not see a picture? Did you put in your kid's room a Jedi like my father before me, unless I get the letter from Hogwarts first? And you've got like the lightsaber and the
No,
wand.
no, 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 no. It's. I used to work back. They had little lightsaber night lights, and
Oh,
a
okay.
decal. It was a decal. I'm a Jedi like my father before me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. So, out of like sci-fi and comics, what's your favorite thing? Like it could
Outside
be
of
a movie or a comic series or whatever.
oh, okay, yo, too bad it ended. It ended so quickly. Okay, I got several. Law and Order SVU. Dexter was amazing. Firefly with the following successive movie of Serenity was freaking great. Um, anything with time travel. But I'm very picky with that. You got to do a really good time travel story. So of course, Back to the Future, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure, Back to the Future because of nostalgia and everything too. But um, man, Naruto when it comes to anime,
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things that I really enjoy. Like I like the Foundation series in terms of books, Ender's Game, you know, and the subsequent stories. But I've been a big fan of philosophy, love history. I love thinking about history a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot.
Well,
It shows a lot of
I'll tell you, one of the things I like about you the most, Smooth, is I mean, not only do you impress with your tricks and your skill, your personality is down to earth and you're very positive and uplifting, but at the same time, you are very intelligent. Like we joke that we're not, and our girls are, but we're self-taught and we're very into. But you and I have had a couple conversations over the years about quantum theory and string or quantum physics and string theory and time travel, and I'm gonna have to get you back on another episode to talk about just that because that
yeah,
shit.
hopefully our schedules will be a lot better so that I can actually one, I would like to do some tricks. So anybody listening, you're not missing out on nothing other than my beard. So but I would do some tricks and stuff. Yeah, yeah, I want to get back on. Because I definitely didn't touch all the science stuff that I like to talk about, really. I do want to say though, I'm coming up with my own podcast.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you,
So
you need to promote that. So go ahead.
yeah, so I decided yesterday or the day before that the name of the show is gonna be Smooth Talk. I'm gonna be dealing with a different subject every episode. I think some of the subjects we got going on is success, definition of it. I'm going to do a podcast about tipping, working in the industry, talk about the history, different points of views, talk to different people about it. I will be doing tricks though, based on that and going out about, I'm looking forward to it. I actually have a better way of discussing what my idea of this podcast is. And hopefully using it as a springboard for some of my other future TV projects that are coming left and right and left. But I need to do something. I've been stuck here, COVID, going absolutely bananas. And when I got together with the team that I'm doing the podcast with, I was explaining that every time these networks and these TV producers talk to me, they just want me to be who I was in America's Got Talent. They don't want me to be a magician, a bar magician. All they want me to be. But I'm like, yo, we can sit down and talk about anything. Let's go. I have a perspective as a magician who's traveled the world. I lived in Japan. I lived in Australia. I lived in the Philippines. I've done tricks with different people. I know what it feels like to go to a group of strangers who have never met me or heard of me. And within 10 minutes of being next to them, they're hugging me, high-fiving me, buying me shots. I have a perspective on humanity that would allow me to have these conversations just a little bit different than other people can. And it doesn't always have to be about my performance magic, but also, you talk about witchcraft and stuff like that. What do they call it? Full disclosure, I'm not a big believer, but I'm not a complete skeptic, if that makes any sense.
Well, see, I'm like you in the sense you like to wow people and kind of blow their mind, and that's what I like to do too with witchcraft.
No, I'm talking about like in terms of the belief. Like I have friends who believe in astronomy, and I think it's complete bullshit. but I have an episode about it where I'm not knocking it. I'm like, let's go have a conversation. Let's go back and forth with some really smart people.
Like convince me type thing.
Not necessarily convince me, but let's just go because I think that this abrasive constant where we have to be fighting with thoughts and ideas is what's going wrong with the country nowadays. It's okay to have different points of views and still be kick-ass friends and just to have the conversation. Don't necessarily convince me, because when people come to me, my shows, I'm like, I don't believe in magic. I'm like, well, asshole, if I had real magic powers, bitch, I wouldn't be charging you a ticket price. I would just be, I'll be in Hogwarts right now, asshole. So it's okay to. Yeah.
I got a T-shirt in my merch shop that says, "Oh, you don't believe in witchcraft? That's cool. Can I have a piece of your hair?" So, so yeah, I'm all about that. But yeah, I mean, I like that type of thing. And, we talked the other day, without going too much into it, how you might be in my neck of the woods soon. And when you are...
Oh, VT.
Yeah, when you are, I want to do like a show with you actually as a co-host, doing something like that. But I'm like you too. I throw myself out there shamelessly. So when you do your podcast, boy, you got to have me on your show.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be on that. You're gonna be on that specific episode.
But yeah, I'm gonna let Smooth.
No, it's cool. Actually, this morning I was talking to the people from Maine that are trying to drag me out there. So I'm looking forward to it. I want to be a guest again on your show, for sure, and do a little bit of abracadabra stuff, and then yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to tell you, my girl, I've got this set up to where she can watch it on the computer as I'm recording upstairs. And she's been messaging me throughout this whole thing. And she's like, tell him to do the trick with the cards from nowhere. Tell him to do the trick with the cards from nowhere. And I'm like, we're talking right now. Leave me the fuck alone.
Well, yeah, the thing is like, because of the fact that I've been doing it downstairs, and I don't know when the kids were going to go nuts. And when my wife came, she just came in right now.
What's up, Laura?
She's over there. She can hear you a little bit. But yeah, it was a little bit more. See, if I was in the privacy, I could have done it. Now it's just like I didn't know we were going to cut off. But yo, hey, how about this? In show business, they say you always want them wanting more.
Exactly. So we're going to have Smooth back on my show. He's going to do some tricks. We're going to talk about some time travel and shit like that. Hopefully when he gets his show started, I will come on that. But as always, as I always have, I consider myself kind of like your street team. I'm always supporting you because I love what you do, and you're a great guy, man, and you mean the world to me. I respect you for what you do.
No worries. You better have those shots of non-tequila ready for me.
Oh, we ain't gonna have no tequila. We're gonna be smoking that.
Non-tequila. You had non-tequila.
Non-tequila.
I'll show you a trick where you buy a bottle of tequila and I pour it and it turns into whiskey.
All right, bet. We're gonna definitely do that shit.
Actually, I can't do that, but I just want you to buy me a bottle. Oh, wait. Look. Out of my hat. This is so janky. Yeah, you did. Nobody noticed her passing it to me. All right, we'll edit
Laura
that
came
shit out.
home and did the assist with the trick.
Hell is this? We're not promoting these people because they ain't not paying for this. But he's saying hi.
Hi.
What's up?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
You
Nice
put it
to
in front of
nice
people,
to
so-
say hi.
Oh my gosh, all right.
But yeah, so I'm gonna let, now that Laura's home and the kids are probably hungry, I'm gonna let Smooth get back to his family. But thank you, brother, for coming on. Keep letting me know about the podcast, and I'll keep promoting that for you.
I will. Let me know when this comes out so I can
crossovers.
share it with my fans.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. It's gonna come out this weekend probably. So if you want to go ahead and start hyping it up, I'll send you the link when it's ready.
All right, deuces.
All right, later, bro.